Sophia sat on the bed and looked around. The weight of her parents' loss was heavy for her. Sophia slowly began to adjust to life in the orphanage. The other children were kind, and the staff did their best to make her feel at home. One afternoon, while exploring the courtyard, she met a boy named Sam, who was a few years older than her. "Hi, I'm Sophia," she introduced herself shyly. "Hey, Sophia," Sam responded with a warm smile. "I'm Sam. Nice to meet you." They quickly became friends, finding comfort in each other's company. Sam was always willing to help Sophia with chores, and they often washed dishes and cleaned together. Their bond grew stronger as they shared their stories and supported each other. One evening, as they were doing laundry, Sam opened up about his past. "My parents died in a fire accident," he said quietly. "I was the only one who survived." Sophia looked at him with sympathy. "I'm so sorry, Sam. That must have been really hard." Sam nodded, a distant look in his eyes. "It was. But being here has helped me a lot. And meeting you has made things a little easier too." Sophia smiled, feeling grateful for Sam's friendship. "I'm glad I met you too, Sam. You've been a great friend." Their friendship continued to blossom, and they became inseparable. They helped each other with schoolwork, played games, and shared dreams of a brighter future. The orphanage felt less lonely with Sam by her side. One day, as they were playing in the courtyard, they noticed a couple walking towards the building. They were well-dressed and seemed kind. The matron greeted them warmly and introduced them as Peter and Victoria. Peter and Victoria were looking to adopt a child. They walked around the orphanage, observing the children and asking questions. When they reached Sophia and Sam, they paused, their eyes softening as they watched Sophia laugh at something Sam had said. "Hello," Victoria greeted them with a smile. "What are your names?" "I'm Sophia," she replied politely. "And this is Sam." Peter nodded, his expression thoughtful. "It's nice to meet you both." "Sophia, how long have you been here?" "Not very long," Sophia answered, feeling a little nervous under their gaze. Victoria crouched down to Sophia's level, her eyes kind. "Would you like to tell us a bit about yourself, Sophia?" Sophia hesitated but then began to share a little about her life before the orphanage. Peter and Victoria listened intently, exchanging glances as she spoke. As the couple continued their visit, they seemed particularly interested in Sophia. The matron noticed this and later pulled Sophia aside. "Peter and Victoria are thinking about adopting you," she said gently. "How would you feel about that?" Sophia's heart raced with a mix of excitement and fear. She glanced at Sam, who gave her an encouraging nod. I think I'd like that," she said softly, hoping this would be the start of a new, happier chapter in her life. Peter and Victoria decided to adopt Sophia. They filled out all the necessary paperwork, their faces glowing with happiness. The matron helped guide them through the process, ensuring everything was in order. Sophia watched with mixed feelings, nervousness and a glimmer of hope. On the day Sophia was to leave, she found Sam in the courtyard. "I have to go now," she said, her voice trembling. "Peter and Victoria are taking me home." Sam's eyes were filled with sadness, but he forced a smile. "I'm happy for you, Sophia. You'll have a good life with them." "I'll miss you," she said, tears welling up in her eyes. They hugged tightly, knowing this goodbye was harder than any they had faced before. "I'll miss you too," Sam whispered. "But we'll stay friends, no matter what." As Sophia walked towards Peter and Victoria, they greeted her with warm smiles. "Ready to go, Sophia?" Peter asked, gently taking her bag. "Yes," Sophia replied, glancing back at Sam one last time. He waved, and she waved back, their silent promise hanging in the air. Victoria placed a comforting hand on Sophia's shoulder. "We promise to take good care of you, Sophia. You'll be part of our family now." Sophia climbed into the back seat of Peter and Victoria's car, staring out the window as they drove. Memories of her parents flooded her mind, her mother's warm hugs, her father's comforting words, and the laughter they shared. She tried to hold on to those happy moments as the car sped towards her new home. As they approached the house, Sophia's heart felt heavy with both anticipation and sorrow. She missed her parents terribly, and the thought of starting over without them was daunting. But she reminded herself that Peter and Victoria seemed kind and promised to take care of her. When they arrived, Peter helped Sophia with her belongings, carrying her bags inside. The house was even more impressive up close, with its beautiful garden and large windows. "Welcome home, Sophia," Victor said with a smile. "Let's get you settled in." Sophia nodded, following them inside. She carried a small bag of her personal items, feeling the weight of her past on her shoulders. They led her to her room, which was just as cozy and inviting as she remembered. She placed her bag on the bed and took a deep breath, trying to calm her racing thoughts. As she was unpacking, Sophia heard faint voices coming from the hallway. She paused, curious, and quietly moved closer to the door to listen. "Finally, we have a new one," Peter's voice said, filled with excitement. "The last one didn't last long at all." Victor laughed, her tone equally jubilant. "I know. Hopefully, this one will be tougher. We can't afford to kill this one again," she said. Sophia's blood ran cold as her heart was beating really fast. She pressed her ear to the door, her heart pounding. New one? Killed? What were they talking about? She asked herself. Peter continued, "Well, she seems like she'll be obedient enough. Let's make sure she doesn't catch on too quickly." Sophia's mind raced. What did they mean by catch on? She remembered the kind smiles and warm gestures, but now they seemed like a cruel couple. Fear crept into her heart as she realized she might be in serious trouble. She quietly stepped back from the door, her thoughts spinning. They had referred to her as a new one, implying there had been others before her. What had happened to them? The joy in their voices as they spoke about her was unsettling. Sophia sat on her bed, trying to process what she had just heard. She knew she needed to be cautious and vigilant. The kind couple who had promised to take care of her were hiding a dark secret, and her safety depended on her. As she lay down that night, Sophia's mind raced with plans. She needed to find a way to protect herself if things turned dangerous. Her parents' faces appeared in her mind, making her feel emotional and cry little. Sophia put her bags down and lay on the bed, her mind racing with different thoughts about the couple. Just as she started to drift off, the door burst open. Victoria stormed in, her face twisted with anger. "Get up!" Victoria shouted, delivering a powerful slap across Sophia's face. Sophia cried out in pain, her hand immediately going to her cheek. "What did I do?" she asked, tears welling up in her eyes. "Go make dinner," Victoria demanded, her voice cold and harsh. You think you can just laze around here? You're here to work. Shocked and scared, Sophia hurried to the kitchen. She could hear Peter and Victoria laughing in the living room, their cruel voices echoing through the house. Did you see her face? Peter laughed. She thought she was going to live a fairy tale here. Well, she's in for a rude awakening, Victoria replied, her tone dripping with malice. We'll see how long she lasts. Sophia's hands shook as she prepared dinner, her tears falling into the food. She felt a deep sense of fear. How could people be so kind one moment and so cruel the next? When dinner was ready, Sophia served it and then sat at the table, too upset to eat. Patel and Victoria dug in, laughing and chatting as if nothing had happened. You're not eating? Peter asked with mock concern. What's wrong, Sophia? Not hungry? Sophia shook her head, her stomach in knots. I'm not hungry, she whispered. Victoria smirked. Then get out of our presence this minute. You see food and you're rejecting it. No longer food for you in this house. They continued to eat, throwing glances at Sophia and laughing at her misery. Sophia felt a wave of despair wash over her. She was alone and trapped in a house with two people who clearly enjoyed her suffering. After dinner, Peter and Victoria continued to insult Sophia, making jokes at her expense of her dead parents and laughing at her tears. She went to bed hungry and scared, her body aching from the slap and her heart heavy with fear. As she lay in her dark room, Sophia thought about her parents and the life she had lost. She missed them terribly and wished she could be with them instead of in this nightmare. The next morning Sophia woke up to see her foster parents, Peter and Victoria, doing something that left her speechless and tears rolling out of her eyes.